Golden is problematic, and that's a good thing, because it is meant to be the problem that Rumi's character arc solves, which you can really see in her final song, This Is What It Sounds Like. If we compare the lyrics side by side, the contrast is pretty clear. One expects that their hidden inner self will shine like gold, while the other reconciles with the shame and darkness within, mirroring Rumi's journey from projecting her golden fearless facade onto showing what she truly sounds like. So then, why did social trends and institutions reward the problematic song, Golden? Did the movie not make it clear enough that the song is the problem? Or is there something interesting that Golden's overwhelmingly positive reception reveals about our current social climate? I think it's a bit of both, but let's talk about the social angle first and what this trend may imply. If we, as the audience in general, reward the problematic aspect of an art piece to a greater degree than the solution it provides, what does it say about us? That we are rewarding something problematic, instead of the solution the artists intended. In Golden's case, I think it shows that we may just have a social habit of valuing the perception of gold more than who we or others truly are, with all their flaws. Which, yeah, is a pretty common social habit. Think of how people try to achieve high beauty standards to acquire a pretty privilege, of how financial wealth, which is often represented by gold, is highly praised and aspired compared to inner peace and harmony, and of how prestige that paints a golden image of oneself is more glamorized than a quiet confidence in one's own accomplishments. This kind of feels like the classic social idealization versus critical self-reflection debate, or in other words, cool versus cringe, or conformity versus authenticity. So Golden reflects nothing new, just a tale as old as time, with both of the ideals having their own pros and cons. But where it becomes interesting, maybe even a little concerning, is when the movie's intention and framing seems to be overshadowed by the appeal of the problem it tries to challenge. Golden was framed like a satire and critique, yet our social reception does not seem to indicate a wide understanding that they are aware of this framing. But how clear was the framing? Well, if we revisit the scene, upon its release, Mira and Zoe were about to finally rest on the couch and watch boring turtle videos, a normal, mediocre, not socially praised activity that is centered around self-care. But then, they are yanked by Rumi because her insecurity pushed her to release Golden early, forcing Mira and Zoe to neglect their need for couch rest, embrace mental exhaustion to the point of tears, and all without their consent. This framing highlights the breach of boundaries Rumi is willing to overlook for the sake of what Golden means to her, which is pretty problematic, making the negative intent of the song pretty clear and should naturally arouse suspicion and bias against Golden. But as we know, that is not the trend that came to be. The running theme Golden acquired is that of a popular empowerment song, despite the framing. While This Is What It Sounds Like, the song that is framed to be the moment Rumi overcomes the problem stated in Golden, is over 7 times less popular in views, on YouTube at least, and our mainstream social institutions specifically reward the song Golden instead. So to conclude, I think this social reception may reflect that a good chunk of us K-pop Demon Hunter viewers may lean more towards valuing social idealization, where the negative framing of Golden is likely to pass as funny or normal. And if that is the case, then most likely, even if we read the lyrics, Golden's message won't feel like a satire or an alarming critique. It would most likely feel like an affirmation of something we already believe in. And if you're curious to see where you lean, try to ask yourself if doing it for the fans, at the expense of one's self-care, feels like something you'd praise an artist for, or cause you worry. But don't get me wrong, enjoying songs that are framed negatively is not a concern. Being unaware of the intent could be. Think of Takedown and Your Idol. They are very catchy songs to bop with, but if many of us don't catch the negative framing the film intends, then it may be a concerning reflection of the film's ability to deliver intent, or even our ability to absorb it. But how strong of a case can Golden's negative framing really reflect on our social trends? Apparently, not too much. because despite the initial negative framing, the intent is not completely followed through, as there are plenty of factors that I think caused Golden to become the social trend over the final song. There are three main factors that contributed to this. The first and biggest one is that This Is What It Sounds Like did not land as hard as it should have, because it was not set up to hit the target emotions dramatically enough to eclipse Golden. What was this target emotion that the song tries to resolve? It's shame, and Rumi has a severe lack of it. Being born a half-demon, trusting Jinnu who makes the logical argument, following your parental figure's advice to keep a secret, being betrayed by someone you trusted, none of these are shameful acts that Rumi intentionally caused. These are all imposed onto Rumi. And since the premise of Golden is who we are within is shiny gold, the shame had to also come from within, to not only prove that she is not golden inside, but to show that her pursuit of proving her inner self is golden, she has done something shameful. It must be an active, shameful pursuit that makes Golden look terrible the more you watch the film. Such a pursuit will push Rumi to redeem herself and make peace with not being golden inside, accepting the shame, cracks, and darkness within, making This Is What It Sounds Like the cathartic emotional final hit that could eclipse the emotional resonance of Golden, as Rumi finally gained the skill trait of critical self-reflection to balance her prior trait of social idealization. What could this shameful pursuit or act look like though? I'm not sure. Making a deal with Guima could work, or Rumi could possibly overwhelm Zoe with shame, turning her into a demon. But I digress. The second factor that I think made Golden the social trend is that there are aspects of the final performance that does not support the intent of the song. I'm mainly referring to the costumes and autotune that is more in line with the lyrical meaning of Golden rather than This Is What It Sounds Like, making the performance feel like Golden version 2 with the illusion of self-reflection and reconciliation. Because if the song is about harmonizing shame, cracks, and darkness, the costumes should have resembled that, ideally making the colors more mixed, with dark colors, grays, and even some structural flaws. But instead, the costumes shined so bright that it's apparently brighter than gold, which, yes, could indicate accepting one's flaws makes you shine brighter than gold. Very poetic, but that is still in the mindset of trying to shine like gold, so it's not really appreciating both light and darkness, as there is nothing resembling the darkness. Now, I could be wrong, but the voice when Hendrik sings This Is What It Sounds Like sounds like it's slightly auto-tuned or modified, which is not what they actually sound like, inadvertently contradicting the title and premise of the song. The third factor that I think muddied the negative framing of Golden and reduced the impact of the final song is located at the end, when the couch question is asked again. But our characters do not embrace the couch. Instead, they willingly embrace the fans, which negates Golden's problematic framing and premise of prioritizing the perception of gold over self-care. So yeah, if I was an audience member who did not log Rumi's smile after releasing Golden whilst watching her best friends cry as slightly problematic, I would most likely not have seen a single problem with Golden throughout the whole film and favor it as the social trend, because This Is What It Sounds Like, as these three factors indicate, does not have the drama, consistency, and change to really challenge the impact of Golden. So, in conclusion, I think the prominence of Golden is a very natural outcome, because socially, the intent of Golden is a pretty mainstream idea, and the film itself does not really challenge it despite the initial negative framing and the opposing lyrics of the final song. But does Golden's overwhelmingly positive reception and trend reflect anything about our social behaviors? Other than the trend that we like catchy songs, I don't think so, because the film or art piece did not press the solution far greater than the problem it initially presents. If the film actually puts up a real drama that frames Golden as the cause of Rumi's shame, then we could actually get to see if people would defend Golden or defend This Is What It Sounds Like, as philosophically they are very different and audiences are cornered to either bunker in with Golden or grow with Rumi. But since the final song was kinda mushed in with Golden, the cornering pressure did not really happen. However, if it did corner people and many still chose Golden, then that could reflect a trend that deep down, most audiences value social idolization over critical self-reflection, which I think is an interesting reflection to know. But hey, maybe I misunderstood Golden's intent, and that Golden doesn't actually challenge the final song. Or even that Rumi doesn't actually grow as a person because after confessing her flaws and shame, she just goes back to being Golden. Those would certainly be quite interesting angles to converse about. But yeah, do let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing them. And to end this essay on a lighter note, I actually made a lyrical parody of Golden called Soil. Hope you enjoy, and yeah. I am so done being stepped on. Don't you know I exist? Ah, wait till you see when you abuse me. I will be infertile soil, soil, soil. Nitrogen won't save you. You'll hear your screaming belly grumble and protest because of me. Oh, you're a mountain who forgot the land that it sat and relied on. Get ready for your own retribution. Oh, you threw plastics, waste that's caustic. Now I can barely decompose. Oh, I never wanted fame or riches, just harmony and peace.